Like, it's hilarious. I was down in the city the day before Game 7, and I was backing up, and like, I thought that they just were playing a joke on us before when the Super Bowl happened the year prior. They've legitimately like taken cans of Crisco, like bulk size cans of like Crisco, and they're like rubbing it on like telephone poles, and I'm like, wow, that's hilarious. I mean,
wow,
great.
Whose job is that? Like, what's your title? Are you like lead town Crisco ordinance man?
Criscoing.
Just that's like senior Crisco development pole waxer, I think is the actual title.
I know I'm gonna.
He probably makes $100K a year.
I know I'm gonna clip you saying pole waxer like 1,000 times.
You should title the episode.
That is Nikki and the Pole Waxer. Sounds like a Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Exactly. Did you meme that was like the renaming of the Harry Potter titles, or did you send it to me?
Yeah,
you sent it to me. Yeah.
I sent you and Danny get all my Harry Potter humor. Anytime I get a Harry Potter meme or something.
As a bona fide Harry Potter adult, I fully appreciate that.
And Nikki,
you're a Universal person, not a Disney person.
No, I'm a both. I'm a bothy for sure. 100%. You can do both. You need 2 weeks, but you can do both.
You do need 2 weeks. Or you become an annual pass holder, and then you don't need 2 weeks, and you do girl.
Yeah. We are thinking about taking Hunter to Disney. Actually, we're thinking about if I can get hired for Wadapalooza, like me going and working for a few days, and then my husband and Hunter coming down to Florida and me just flying from Miami to Orlando and taking him. So for any Disney adults who are listening, I could use all of the help I could get in planning this. Please help. Please help.
I'm literally going 4 times this year.
Okay, yes. I have so many questions about how to go with a toddler, about how to plan the trip with a toddler, right? Because it's like... Yeah. It's a little bit of a specialty trip where it's like what parts of which parks are the ones to go to, and if we're only going for 5 days, does it even matter? So that's kind of like what I want to know, and also where to stay. God, it's complicated. It's so complicated.
It's a lot. It's a lot,
but they're free before 3, and he's like finally at a point where he's like obsessed with Mickey Mouse and obsessed with like the Disney Pixar movies that we've watched, and he's like. He's got his favorites, and now we've seen them a million times. It would be really fun because it would be purely magical for him. And I know that people shit on taking toddlers to Disney because they like quote unquote don't remember. But for fuck's sake, I will remember. Heck yeah, I will have fun with him there. Like it's not just for him; it's like for our whole family.
Now, my parents did say growing up that like the golden age was 5. And I mean, like, granted, I was a horrible child. I cried everywhere. I mean, to the point where one parent would sit in a car with me while the other was inside with my sisters because if you took me in that restaurant, this girl was crying. So, I mean, again, not really shocked, but yeah. So my parents said the golden age is 5, which I tend to look around and I believe it. But yeah, 2 is also a great age. I mean, I was trying to convince. I'm literally going next week, my birthday. And then turning around and going 17 days later for Christmas.
Shit. I love that. I love that for you.
Yeah, I was trying, and here's the thing, he's 2, so you can get him in up until 3 for free.
Right.
So you should take him.
Right. And then we learn it, and then we'll go back.
And you master it when he's literally going to run you to the ground because he's going to want to do everything. So this can still be a Disney adult with a toddler trip. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So that's
you
kind of
you
like
have
the,
my services
we'll see.
Hired.
Ooh, I have lots of questions.
I got you. I can help you.
Schedule a different Zoom call for that.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole Disney episode. It'll be great.
Ooh, we could do our Disney planning live for anyone who wants to tune in. Can you imagine the 4 people who would listen to that episode?
No, you would be surprised. You would get so many people.
Dude, well, I know,
girl. Bring Haley with us. We need to just have Haley Adams join, and then it's the real dream team. And then, we can also say to the world, bye. If you need a babysitter, watch your kids while you go have a drink. Just bring us one back. No, just kidding.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah.
Disney sitters Mm-hmm.
I did joke with her when she was at Disney when the games were happening, and I was like, "You're living your best life," and I love that.
Oh, yeah, for sure, 100%.
Great.
Well, future episode planned. So sounds good to me.
Sign me up. I'll be here with my Mickey ears on and everything.
Perfect.
Ooh, I can't wait for new Mickey ears.
Well, Lauren, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I say my guest bedroom is Disney themed, so
Amazing.
might have just outed myself a little bit there. Whoops.
It's all right. It's all right.
Well, thank you for joining tonight.
you
And we're excited to watch at Wadapalooza, whether we're watching online or we go in person. Nikki's going to be on the sidelines, but
Hopefully.
I'll find
hopefully
you.
I'm there too. Yep. Well, one way or another, we'll get your GoPro going so I can.
Yes. With the big arrow.
John is here.
Yeah, John is here.
All right,
Sure.
Nikki, great to see you again, as always. Make sure you
Likewise.
get some rest tonight now that your kid's sleeping. It'll be good for
Yeah.
you.
Hope your
Well,
hour of freedom was the best hour ever.
It was.
Yeah. Love
Perfect. All right. Well, for everyone listening, thanks for joining, and we will chat with you guys soon.
Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. This is another edition of the Weekly Buzz, which is our partnership with the Morning Chalk Up. And I have Joe Jeniton Palawa here from MCU. How's it going, Joe?
Hey, Nikki. Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I am cold. It is officially winter here
Yeah.
in New England, and my office is not heating up enough for this call. But that's okay. I am grateful that you're joining us. We have a lot to talk about. If this is your first time listening to the Weekly Buzz, first of all, where have you been? But second of all, this is the show that we do on a weekly basis with Morning Chalk Up, where we kind of go over the latest and greatest headlines, and Joe gives us some insight into what's happening in the world of CrossFit competition, CrossFit community, stuff going on in the affiliates, and we've got a little bit of everything on today's show. So, Joe, why don't you take us through some competition news to kick things off?
Yeah. So we had two competitions this past weekend. You and I have spent some time talking about the Down Under Championship in Wollongong, Australia. Great competition. Really strong performances in the individual divisions. Peter Ellis kind of led from wire to wire, took a strong lead on day one, carried it through all the way to the end. The other guys who rounded out that podium were Zane Shellebert-Healy and Zach Thomas. On the women's side, there's Maddie Sturt took a strong lead again early on and held on throughout, but there were some battles for the other podium positions, and it was a really strong day too for Annika Greer that moved her up the leaderboard into a podium position. And so we finished off with Maddie Sturt in first place, and then we had Annika Greer and Grace Walton rounding out that podium. Yeah, it was a fun competition. We talked about the teams quite a bit, you and I, as we were discussing all the folks who were going to be making the trip. On the men's side, ultimately it was Team Frog Grips, the homegrown Australian guys who took the men's side. Couple of dogs. If you remember that Ricky Garrard had a team that he had put together called the Bro Dogs, and there was some last minute changes, and so this ended up being Ricky's team. Couple of dogs, second place, and then the Hombres, Noah Olson, Phil Marquinho, and Chandler Smith rounded out in third place. On the women's side, it was the California girls, the Invictus team led by Danny Spiegel, with two Australian teams, Nextletica Gold and the Fit Mamas Club, which was, I believe, headed up by Alethea Boone, Games veteran. So
That's
there was
awesome.
your podium on that side.
This was cool. I really enjoyed checking out the highlights from this competition. It looked beautiful.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh God. And it was very cool to see a mix of sort of like big name athletes and also some names that I was quite unfamiliar with. And I think competitions like this are where we oftentimes see brand new names kind of make a break for it. Or like you'll see a name or you'll see someone get to, a semifinal or to the CrossFit Games, and you'll be like, that name. It's like not super common, but it's not completely unfamiliar. And then you look back at some of the podiums and the rosters of these other competitions, and you're like, oh yeah, like they've been coming up for a bit. So very cool
Yeah.
to see a preview maybe of what is to come in the upcoming season.
Yeah, I think so. And I want to come back to Ricky Garrard here in a second. But Wheel Wad was the other event taking place, giving us
Yes.
a little preview into what the Wheel Wad CrossFit Games may look like next year. If you remember, this is one of the outside organizations that will be taking on some of the other divisions, in this case, the adaptive divisions. The